I never learned how to play an instrument, and I've never had a good singing voice. But music is, and always has been, very important to me. Whether it be as background noise when I'm doing other things, or when I'm listening to the lyrics and beats of a track. I'm always open to listening to new artists since I'm constantly looking for the next song or artist to fall in love with. For about 2 years now, one of my latest obsession has been with virtual singers. Nowadays, the virtual singer label has become a bit more broad compared to a couple of years ago when virtual singers referred to non-human synthetic vocals. I never liked the synthetic sound, so I never got into the Vocaloid genre. But with the rise of virtual YouTubers, there has also been an increase in artists that perform through a virtual character. I much prefer the virtual singers with a real person behind the character. To me, it just feels a bit more real. During my latest stay in Japan, a friend of mine introduced me to a virtual artist named Kaf. So later on, when I was searching for info about Kaf and her songs, I stumbled across another artist from the same music label. And while Kaf is incredible in her own regards, I quickly fell in love with this other artist's voice and style. So in this video, I'd like to present my current favorite virtual artist.
リメです。はじめまして。
But before we get into the meat of the video, I would like to talk a little bit about virtual artists and virtual singers. So what are virtual artists or singers? It's not a label set in stone, so it can be a bit fluid to talk about. Originally, like I mentioned before, when mentioning virtual singers, it would refer to a non-human artist consisting of synthetic vocals, like Hatsune Miku or Megurin Luka. But nowadays, we can also think of them as singers or performers who use some sort of avatar to represent them while appearing online or during shows. The concept of virtual artists and singers is nothing new. After all, we've had gorillas since 1998. But there was a big upswing of virtual entertainers that happened during the COVID lockdown when most of us started to spend even more time online than before. With virtual YouTubers, or VTubers as they're more commonly known, becoming more popular, and the technology needed for people to become VTubers becoming more readily available, more and more people use this method to appear online, and I've really grown to love the concept of virtual performers, since they can do a lot of cool things while still remaining anonymous. There are of course multiple ways of achieving this anonymity. Ado and Suis from Yorishika, for example, have been performing on the big stage for quite a while now, while still remaining hidden thanks to clever use of lights. But with virtual artists, the focus lands on the character and the voice that portrays them instead of on the person behind the character. I'm a big fan of this concept in general, which may be evident since I'm doing something similar here, hiding behind this avatar. There are of course virtual artists from all over the world at this point, but the Japanese market is probably still the largest, with multiple music labels and companies working exclusively with this type of performers. Now let's get into the meat of the video and actually talk about Rim. As is written on Rim's YouTube channel, she's a Japanese artist who likes singing in Japanese, English and Korean. She had her debut in October of 2019 through Kamitsubaki Studio and started out mainly posting covers in English and Japanese. Her very first upload on her YouTube channel is a cover of Billie Eilish's Bad Guy.
I'm a bad guy. Duh.
Followed by Ed Sheeran's Shape of You. Rim is a member of the group Virtual Witch Phenomenon, more commonly written as VWP, and while part of a larger group, all 5 members of the Virtual Witch Phenomenon more or less act independently for the most part. They have an album together and some singles where they all appear on. But, at least for Rim, from time to time she has collaborations with the other members, but she mainly does solo performances. Her first original song released 2 months after her debut in December of 2019, named You and Me. This is also the first video on her channel where her avatar is moving around, since in the covers before this release there were just stills of her avatar. Speaking of her avatar, it is designed by Palo, who also made Kaf's model. Rim's model depicts a young woman with distinct eyes in red and blue with yellow irises. She has blue hair and wears a multitude of costumes, mostly in red and blue. Rim's costumes are called Metamorphose and are all named after science fiction novels. The three main costumes are Nightwings, the Cosmic Puppets, and Childhood's End. She has some other costumes as well, like her Virtual Witch Phenomenon outfit, and some other unnamed costumes. Another fun thing about Rim's design, well, perhaps not her design, but during concerts and music videos she often has a giant flying fish that appears with her in the videos. This fish is called Hastur, and shares its name with the cosmic horror being used by authors like H.P. Lovecraft. I wasn't able to find anything conclusive about if the naming was deliberate or not, just a fan-made comic showing Rim finding out that her mascot shares the name with the King in Yellow. However, when searching for more information about the giant fish, I found a tweet by Rim where she calls one of her managers Hastur. Rim has worked together with a couple of different songwriters throughout her career now, but Sasagawa Mao stands out as the most prominent writer of her original songs, since he's written almost all of them. So in terms of writers, artists, and other talent in Kamitsubaki's studio, Rim is clearly surrounded by incredibly talented people, but that doesn't take away from her own incredible voice, range, and singing style. In her songs, she doesn't strictly stick to a single genre of music either, and she mixes a lot of different styles. In an interview with Sasagawa and Rim, which they did with the Japanese music website natalie.mu, after the release of their second album New Romancer 2, they said that they didn't have an underlying concept of genre in mind when creating the new album. Their first album, New Romancer, has a lot of songs with a rocky and a bit of a cooler vibe to them. So with the second album, they did go in with the idea of writing a bit of a more bright and fluffy feeling for the songs. During the same interview, Rim says that she had a feeling that they were going for a style she calls alternative cute with this album, which Sasagawa agrees with. So right now, maybe that would be the most accurate genre she falls under, for now. Rim's most popular original song is called Shokuchu Shokubutsu, or Carnivorous Plant in English. This song blew up on TikTok and has disproportionately become her most viewed song. It's been viewed almost 11 times more than her second most viewed song, and at the time of recording this, it's been played over 47 million times. Her most viewed cover is Vondi's Fukakoryoku, followed by her very first uploaded cover of Bad Guy. Rim has been quite active since her debut with both live shows and album releases. She has uploaded over 200 videos to her YouTube channel since her debut. She has also been part of multiple live shows, and as of now she has 2 full solo albums and solo live performances. In 2020, Rim got placed 10th in the VTuber Music Award with Shokuchu Shokubutsu, and more recently her song Elohim from her latest album became the theme song for a horror movie named Kinjirareta Asobi. Over the last couple of years, I can't think of an artist I fell in love with as fast as I did with Rim. Her songs appear almost daily in my music mixes, and I can't say that I'm getting tired of listening to them, which probably is because of how varied her music style is. Thanks to her music, I've also discovered other artists that I wouldn't have found otherwise, either thanks to her collaborations or YouTube and Spotify recommendations. While I do like some of her covers, like Fukakoryoku or Shundai, it's her original songs that keep me hooked and keep me coming back. Before her second album release, my only real complaint with Rim was that there wasn't enough of her songs to listen to. And now that she has 2 albums out, I'm just looking forward to whatever's next in store for Sasagawa and Rim. So now, here at the end of the video, I'm gonna mention 3 Rim songs I would like to recommend you to listen to. If you had never heard of Rim before this video, then I think you should start with the Shokuchu Shokubutsu, since it blew up as much as it did. The song gives a good general feel for her style of music, even though it changes quite a bit from song to song. Next is Oshiete Kami-sama, which is a relatively recent favorite of mine with its unique sound. I think that this song really represents the alternative cute genre Rim mentioned in her interview, and it's a good introduction to her latest album. And lastly, my number 1 favorite Rim song thus far, Horabanashi. This song was the reason I started to listen to everything else Rim had made, and I don't really have anything else to say about the song other than I hope you like it as much as I do. If my little presentation here got you interested in checking out more of Rim songs, I'd like to ask you to leave a comment with your favorite Rim song that you come across, and maybe give me a song recommendation from one of your favorite artists in return. I'd love to follow up on people's recommendations since it's a new chance for me to find more great music. I'm always open to finding new music after all. And with all that said, thanks for watching, happy music listening, and I hope to see you here again.